Now, freshman council, and you mentioned a little bit about them earlier, but freshman student council members, interesting bunch, mainly because they're elected a month, 2 months into the year, as opposed to the rest of the council, which is elected the year before. How do you plan to draw them into the student council institution, draw them in and institutionalize them and make them a part of your everyday activities?
Yeah, I think it's kind of an awkward transition because they come in, like you said, 2 months into the year, and we're kind of already sort of wrapping up everything we're doing. We're kind of in the final stages of, homecoming has either already happened or is about to happen. Ranger Day comes with that. A lot of it's a bit of an awkward transition, but I think one of the best things about the freshmen who come in to the student council, the way that they do, is it's not overwhelming for them. So, we could have freshman elections with everyone else and move all of the elections to early in the year and have everyone do that. I feel like that'd be, first of all, be a disadvantage to the incoming leaders because they wouldn't have a head start going into the year A. B, for the freshmen, it would be very overwhelming. And so I kind of like the way they do it because we ease them in. We've had some we've had a crop of, very good student council members who have kind of risen from the ranks of freshmen. Jeff was the freshman class president. Dennis Kamara, who served with us last year with Jeff and I, as junior class representative and a sophomore class representative. So he served 3 years along with Jeff and I. I only served 2 years actually, but so it's almost like it gives them sort of a chance to prime themselves for future student council success. Connor Uber was another great one. He was actually the only freshman elected. We had a bit of a weak turnout that year. He was the only freshman elected his year, but he was really, instinctive. He listened very well, and it really was a great transition for the year after because he was the only incoming sophomore with that experience, being the only freshman on council. Sadly, he did not achieve success in being reelected. It was a darn shame too because he was a really good candidate. But I'm really happy with my council, and I think one of the best ways we can do is get as much feedback from them as we can as well. So almost one thing I was thinking about is possibly planning ahead for the freshman mixer, maybe getting their ideas about ways that we can achieve success because like I said, it's a bit of a difficult transition because we're not doing enough in the year to where we can say, hey, you guys go do this project or this assignment. Also because they only have 2 or 3 months, really on council as freshmen. But that's also another thing, how can we create maybe some things just within the freshman class that will increase involvement of those freshman representatives, and that's a big thing that we can also improve on this year, definitely.
Now, Basil, as a 2-year veteran, you have been on a student council moderated by Dr. Deegan, who left that post to work exclusively with the Jesuit Roundup, my publication, which I'm editor-in-chief of. And now, this year, under Mr. Hanley, an English teacher, how has that transition been? And what's different? Not necessarily better or worse, but what's different about the Hanley Council from the Deegan Council, or is there a difference?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a difference. The transition has been good so far. It was very difficult at first. Dr. Deegan, why is he forsaken us? No one really knows. But I think it has been a good transition so far. Dr. Deegan is still on council, but he's taken obviously a smaller role. He's still very attentive in meetings and whatnot. I'm being completely sarcastic when I say that. Anyways, no, just kidding. But yeah, so I learned a lot from Dr. Deegan over the past few years of student council, and I think so did Mr. Hanley, who kind of sat in. So we kind of are taking what we know from him and sort of incorporating it. But I think also Dr. Deegan is, I think one of the differences is that Dr. Deegan, how do I phrase this? Mr. Hanley is, I guess Dr. Deegan's been here for so long, and he was really almost like a harbor of tradition, I would say, because he's been here so long and he knows how things have worked for such a long time. I think Mr. Hanley is just a little more open to hearing some new ideas that might be a little too, like, straying from tradition. And obviously, one of the strengths that Dr. Deegan has is that he is firm in tradition, and that he
and Jesuit itself.
Exactly, and that he understands what Jesuit expects. That's another difficult thing with just because Mr. Hanley, he's only been here for a year, and yeah, I've been here for 3 years, but I obviously don't have the experience that Dr. Deegan has. Neither of us do. I think that's another thing that we might both have to overcome, Mr. Hanley and I working together. But he's brought some new ideas also to the plate that I guess Dr. Deegan has just been just the fact that he's been here for so long. Sometimes it's kind of hard when you're in one place for such a long time. It's hard to envision it any different, obviously. And I think Mr. Hanley is bringing some fresh new ideas. He's coming from. He actually went to a Jesuit high school in the north, I believe, Fordham Prep, if I'm not mistaken. St. Peter's, probably.
In New Jersey.
In New Jersey, yeah. Fordham is in New York, my mistake. Yeah, but he came from a Jesuit school, so he had some really great ideas. For instance, one of the ideas that we've actually been thinking of, that they actually did at Jesuit a long time ago, that I actually learned from my math teacher, Mr. Puyon. What they used to do is they also did this at St. Peter's. They would almost have a spirit day in spring. We have Ranger Day in the fall. They have a spirit day in the spring. What they would do is maybe a Friday, you would not necessarily take the day off, but no classes that day. The teachers would pick certain field trips that they would find interesting. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to what they teach, but it can be something fun, something to get Jesuit students out of the classroom and sort of into the beautiful metroplex around them.
Or in Mr. Hanley's case, beautiful New Jersey.
Beautiful New Jersey, exactly. In fact, Mr. Hanley, what they used to do is, so you would have your specific field trips, and you sign up. Students can sign up for a certain amount of spots for each field trip. Mr. Hanley actually went to Yankee Stadium one time. We got to see a ball game during the day, and it's just it's a fun break from the normal grind, because I know especially spring can be very tedious for a lot of people. It's a lot longer than the fall, especially at Jesuit. I think that'd be a great reprieve from the normal grind of classes, and create sort of a greater sense of unity, and just also get to see the world around you. Go to a museum, go experience something around you that you might not normally experience.
Okay, and Basil, we're almost out of time, but just one more question. I know that dressing up and wearing a costume is more of a homecoming thing, but can we expect, with the Greece theme, President Basil Seif maybe adorning costume, perhaps like John Travolta's character in Greece? Can we expect something like that?
Actually, Clark, the theme is Greece is in ancient Greece.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
I would.
Toga, perhaps?
Yes, President Basil Seif would completely be open to possibly, maybe a more vintage, classical John Travolta sporting a toga look. That could be a sort of a fusion of the two Greases.
Fusing the two Greases, of course.
Very possible.
Well, Basil, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you for meeting with us today. And this is Clark Durham, Editor-in-Chief of the Roundup, here with Basil Seif, student body president of the class of 2013. And good night.
You stay